we started talking about our past experiences.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the last time we're going to talk about it today. Because the next exercise I wanted to do with you is to actually ask you to work on your own journey description. How would you know that you meet somebody who is on a similar journey as yours? Well, you can ask them, what kind of journey are you on? And if they tell you, how will you know that it's similar to yours? Well, if you don't know your journey, it's hard to compare. So, in order to be able to compare, you need to actually know your journey. Just like in order to know the resonance,
Mm-hmm.
you need to know your own energy. So, the next thing that we're going to do is exactly that. We are going to work on understanding our journey. What were the specific turning points? What were the specific vectors or certain periods of time that we stayed the course, so to speak? Are we still on that same course? Are we slightly on a different course or on a completely different course? If so, what was the turning point then? Maybe there were more than one, so you can actually identify specific points in time when you experience this kind of transformations or turning points. And I would invite you to actually not just talk about it, but draw a timeline. And on the timeline, you'll be able to identify specific periods of time when you were going more or less in the same direction, as opposed to some periods of time when you experienced some change. And obviously, we're also looking at the current journey, current stretch of this journey. Do you feel like you are on the track that you really resonate with? Do you feel like you want to continue following this track? If so, then obviously this would be an important thing to know, because this is what you want to be known for. In other words, when you communicate to others, then you won't be talking to them about some parts of your journey, of your personal history that you no longer resonate with. No, you'll be talking to them about that which you want to be known for. Okay, that's cool. It's important to know that. Does it make sense?
Well, I assume you might want to talk about parts of your journey that you don't resonate with, but that you're making a point that you left behind as sort of a lesson.
Precisely. Yes. So you can definitely see how somebody may be on a similar type of stretch of the journey that you used to be on that you no longer resonate with. And if you can help them overcome whatever challenges that you experienced back then, and obviously you experienced a turning point at some point, maybe you can facilitate their transformation so they would experience the kind of turning point that you did, then you will be able to actually help them a great deal in that. It's like, again, earlier this morning I was talking about how at some point in time we probably all had this wish that we had somebody who would basically mentor us or coach us through certain challenges or through certain point of transitions. And if we know several of those points, or at least one or two, it's going to be really helpful for us. And it also makes it easier for us to communicate to other people. Like, for example, when people ask me, so who are your ideal clients? I say my ideal clients are Qigong and Tai Chi teachers who are experiencing challenges with becoming more successful and doing this full time. And I help them overcome this challenge and become successful as Tai Chi or Qigong teachers, and also teach them how to become Qigong coaches, so that they can live their lives more fully and they can empower more people to manifest and live their dreams more fully. It's kind of a long sentence, but it's a pretty concise description of who I mostly work with. Now, there are people who are not necessarily Tai Chi or Qigong teachers. No one in this room is actually a Tai Chi or Qigong teacher, which is fine. But those are people who I know how to work with. I have certain experience and expertise in those areas, and so I can definitely help those folks more than probably anybody else, or more than many others. So, well, let's see how you can take a time, and it's not going to be limited to 5 minutes. Well, let's take 15 minutes on average, maybe 2 minutes here and there, to identify our own journey. You can draw on the timeline, you can identify, you can even draw a squiggly line as if you were traveling in different directions. And yes, you're welcome to draw a squiggly line. And you can also identify a particular direction that you are currently on. So the current vector of your journey obviously needs to be particularly well identified. And then we share this with the other person, somebody who you haven't worked with yet today, so that it's going to be an opportunity to express in a more or less concise manner who your ideal clients might be. Okay? It doesn't have to be like a polished elevator speech, but at least it will be a step in the right direction. Okay? Great. So let's take
this timeline that we're doing. It's a timeline from since we were born until today. Is that what we're talking